pray with me? Oh God, I pray this morning that you would calm these stammering, trembling lips, God. Put me out of the way behind the cross, that only Christ, His love, might be shining forth. For I pray in Jesus' name. Amen. You know, often when change happens, it totally disrupts the world as you and I know it. You know, change can be inconvenient and disruptive. And, you know, I know that personally because the world as I know it is about to change in 5 weeks. Democracy disrupted monarchy. The automobile disrupted horse breeders. Email disrupted the postal service and the envelope makers. You know, I remember, it's been a number of years ago now, I had a lady in one of the congregations I was serving in Williamson, West Virginia. She was a high school English teacher. And I said, how has email and texting affected your students? She said they no longer can spell or punctuate. Remember stereo and reel-to-reel tape recorders and 8-track tapes? Even cassettes are obsolete now. VCRs, might as well throw them away. And the disruption continues. Even today, it comes in the form of devices that we carry around, wearing them on our wrist or in our pockets or our purses. There's sensors and cloud infrastructure and on and on and on. Things are changing and transforming and in many ways disrupting. But did you know that we find disruptive information and change in the Bible as well? Think of the angel of the Lord appearing to Moses in a sagebrush bonfire. And because he can't believe his eyes, Moses stops dead in his tracks to look at this great sight and see why the bush isn't consumed. And then God speaks out of that bush and Moses says, "Here I am, Lord." Or how about Peter, James, and John up on the mountaintop, the Mount of Transfiguration, and Jesus' physical appearance changes. His face begins to shine, and his clothes are dazzling white, and the disciples can't quite figure out what's happening. And then they get help from the cloud when a voice says, "This is my son, listen to it." How about Easter morning? Huh? How about Easter morning? The women find the stone rolled away from the tomb, and they go in and they can't find the body of Jesus. And they stare, they're not comprehending. And 2 men in dazzling clothes tell them that Jesus has risen. And to take the news to the disciples and all the rest. And the world is never the same again. A burning bush, the transfiguration, the empty tomb. They're all 3 examples of disruptive information. And in each case, the old framework gives way to a new one. Well, something new emerges in Acts as well. Paul and Silas arrived in the city of Philippi, and it's a Roman colony. drives a spirit out of a slave girl, and he and Silas are dragged before the authorities. And the slave girl's handlers are angry because her spirit of divination has been removed. And that cuts deeply into their fortune-telling prophets. These men, hear this, these men are disturbing the city, they say. They are Jews and advocating customs that are not lawful for us as Romans to observe. They're disruptive. Paul and Silas are given a severe flogging and thrown into prison, as Bob shared with us in the passage of Scripture. And the jailer puts them in the innermost cell of the jail and fastens their feet in stocks. Paul and Silas pass the time praying and singing hymns to God. Then at midnight, a violent earthquake opens the doors of the prison and unfastens everyone's chains. And the jailer assumes that his prisoners have all escaped, and with a deep sense of shame, he draws his sword. He draws his sword to kill himself. But Paul and Silas cry out and urge him not to harm himself, since the prisoners are present. Calling for the light, that jailer rushes into that innermost cell of the prison, and he falls down before Paul and Silas, trembling. And in this time of confusion, the jailer's old framework gives way to a new one. He brings Paul and Silas outside, and he asks them, "Sirs, what must I do to be saved?" And they instruct him to believe in Jesus Christ. And then he and his household were baptized, and the story ends with the jailer showing hospitality to Paul and Silas by throwing a feast. In every time and in every place, the Christian faith can be a source of disruptive information. It stresses us. It surprises us sometimes. Sometimes it confuses us. And then once it's accepted, it changes our lives. I can remember times when I've been stressed and surprised and confused about the Christian faith. I don't know about you, but it has affected me that way. Thank you for your affirmation. Still, once we accept them, our lives are changed. They're never the same again. And in the same way, this story from Acts helps us to grasp the stress and transformation of Christian living. You know, each element of the story contains a piece of disruptive information that can change our lives. Disruption number one. You are valued for what you are and not what you do. You hear that? You're valued for what you are and not what you do. After that midnight earthquake, the jailer feels deeply embarrassed that he's lost his prisoners. And in noble Roman fashion, he draws his sword and is ready to commit suicide. But Paul shouts to him, he says, "Don't harm yourself." And the jailer rushes into the cell block, and he's falling down before Paul and Silas. And then the question, "What must I do to be saved?" And they answer, "Believe on the Lord Jesus, and you will be saved, you and your household. You know, although we don't live in the first century Roman colony, we tend to share the jailer's belief that our value is based on what we do. If we fail to achieve success in school or work, we feel worthless. Think of the murder-suicides that wipe out entire families because someone felt he was a failure and preferred to send his wife and children to eternity to keep them from watching him slide into failure and depression, unable to provide for them. Many of us believe our value is based on our performance. And for most of us, it's true. We're not tempted to end it all. But still, when we face failure, there's no doubt a small voice somewhere deep inside of us whispers to us that we are total failures. God says your value is based on who you are and not what you do. Each of us is a precious child of God, with worth that comes from our being made in the image of God. Each of us. This is true whether we fail as students, workers, or even jailers. Our worth comes from our being made in the image of God. Disruption 2. You're saved through your faith in Jesus, not by the gods of success, beauty, and popularity. Won't do it. After hearing the word of the Lord, the jailer washes the wounds of Paul and Silas, and he and his family are baptized. And then he brings everyone into his house and he throws a big party, a feast. And the jailer and his family all rejoice that he has become a believer in God. You know, although we do not think of ourselves as pagans, we have to admit that we fall down in front of a lot of false gods today. We burn incense at the altar of success, beauty, and popularity. We bow down before soccer and standardized tests and sleepover parties. I heard a teacher back there. Maybe it's the gods your parents worship, or the gods of the culture you live in. But if you're anything like me, there are a lot of false gods out there that tempt us every day. To his credit, the jailer falls down before two faithful Christians. And he trades his faith in the Roman gods for faith in Jesus Christ, putting his trust in the one who can truly save him. Disruption number 3, and the last. Faith is never entirely personal, but it leads you to serve others and practice hospitality. Paul was certainly correct to say to the Romans that if you confess with your lips Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Romans 10:9. This impression that faith is primarily an individual commitment, a relationship between the individual and Jesus. But the jailer in Philippi, he sees a larger truth, which is that personal faith leads to communal action. He immediately serves Paul and Silas by washing their wounds. And he practices hospitality by throwing a feast for his guests and his household. The Christian faith, the Christian life, is full of disruptive information. When we see God at work in our lives, we begin trying to make sense of it. Then we get overwhelmed. And we begin to wonder if our eyes are playing tricks on us. I remember that many years ago, Judy. And I thought, surely God couldn't call me to something like this. I'm just imagining this. And yet there was Judy and some others to affirm that God really was calling me to this. I thought my mind was playing tricks on me. And so finally we accept it. And we find our old framework gives way to a new, didn't it, Don? Gives way to a new. You are valued for who you are, folks. You are saved through faith in Jesus. Faith leads you to serve others and practice hospitality. Such truths only emerge with difficulty. But when they do, they change